I'm pregnant with baby number 2. You're
having a baby!
Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy days to spend some time here with me on my channel. And if you are new here, welcome, and go ahead and click the subscribe button below this video. It's free to subscribe, and that way you'll know when I post new videos. And I'm going to be posting week by week updates throughout my pregnancy, but not only referencing how I'm doing throughout my pregnancy, it's also going to give you general information about what's happening each week throughout pregnancy so you can follow along with your pregnancy, or if you plan to have another little one in the future. My name is Sam, if I haven't talked to you before. My husband's name is Joe. We've been married about 4.5 years, and we have one little boy named Cooper, and he's about to be 21 months old. And now we are pregnant with baby number 2, and I'm due sometimes towards the end of spring, beginning of summer. And we were trying to get pregnant with our first son. We had to really wait. Not that there's ever a perfect time to get pregnant, but I was finishing grad school, we were opening a business, and my husband was finishing his doctorate degree as well. It was just a lot going on, and I knew I wanted to have lower stress levels throughout my pregnancy, so it was really important to both of us to wait. Also, my husband was actually living an hour and a half away from here while he was finishing his degree. So living in 2 different cities not only made it difficult to try to get pregnant during that time, but also the fact that when I was pregnant, if I was feeling really sick, I wanted him to be able to be close by and to be able to fill in the office. So for our first baby, what we did was we waited until I was done with school. I was in the office working. We had been open about 1.5 years at that point, and then my husband was finishing school towards the end of my pregnancy, so that way even if I went into labor early, he would have already been integrated into the office. Our practice members would be used to seeing him. That way he can jump right in when I had the baby. That worked out really well. I mean, there was still a lot of stress going on. There's always a lot of stress with bringing a new baby into the family and owning a business as well, but I feel like it went really smoothly overall, and we're definitely glad we waited until that point. So we have been contemplating and kind of deciding of, do we want another baby? When are we gonna have another baby? People started asking us. By the time Cooper was about 9 months old, people were asking me constantly, oh, when is he gonna have a sibling? When are you gonna get pregnant again? And it was always in the back of my mind. I've always wanted a big family, but after having one, we love to travel. We love to always be on the go and be doing things. And it's pretty easy with one baby. So we're really considering, how big of a family do we want? So at that point, we had decided about in the springtime of this past year that we definitely wanted to have another baby. We just had to figure out when the right time was. So there was a lot going on in the springtime for us, so we actually decided to wait until this fall to start trying to get pregnant. What we did last time with our first pregnancy was I was using a fertility monitor, so I was tracking my cycles very closely. I was actually using an app in my phone as well. Then I was also using ovulation tests. I guess it's just with my medical background, I like to know these things, and I wanted to know exactly when we could get pregnant, and we got pregnant our very first try. I knew this time around we had planned a vacation coming up in a couple of months, and I said, okay, well, let's wait until after that. That way I'm not pregnant when we're traveling, and we did a lot of traveling this summer. So I said, why don't we wait until after that big vacation coming up? We can try after that and just kind of, try over the winter time and before the holidays. But once we came back from our summer travels, we decided to stop preventing. So we just figured, hey, let's see what happens, and we got pregnant very quickly. So my cycle was totally off this summer. I think between traveling and then I actually got a stomach bug, which just totally threw my body out of whack. It hit me really hard for quite a number of days, and it just went through our entire family. So that definitely threw me off schedule and just messed with my cycle. So I really didn't know when I was ovulating. I wasn't doing ovulation tests, and because my cycle had been off and I'm still breastfeeding our first son, Cooper, I wasn't able to use my fertility monitor because I wasn't as consistent. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the fertility monitor, I'd be happy to do a separate video about it. It is awesome. So we used it as birth control, natural birth control. There's no hormones with it or anything like that, and it's really effective. So we used that for years after we got married. I didn't want to be taking any hormonal birth control or anything like that. So it was a really great fit for us, and it not only helped prevent pregnancy, but it can help you to get pregnant as well by knowing your cycle and knowing your fertility window. So when we were done with our summer travels, like I said, we decided to stop preventing trying to get pregnant, and we just said, hey, we'll see what happens. So a couple weeks ago, I was standing in the kitchen and my husband came up like this behind me and hugged me. And I was like, my chest is pretty sore, and that doesn't normally happen to me. So that kind of got me thinking. And then later in the day, I was playing with Cooper in his playroom, and I was like dozing off. I just couldn't keep my eyes open. And I'm not like that. I'm not even one to take a nap during the day. I don't usually have a lot of caffeine in my system or anything like that. But I just could not keep my eyes open. I was so tired, and I know I slept well the night before and got plenty of sleep. So between those two things, I mentioned something to my husband later that day and said, I don't know, I've just been having some of these weird symptoms. I said, who knows? I guess I could be pregnant. And so I kind of brushed it off. I didn't really think about it too much. Actually, he was hanging out downstairs. I came upstairs and was just doing stuff in our room, kind of working around a little bit. And he walked upstairs and said, let's take a test. And I was like, no, I don't want to take one because I don't want to be disappointed. And what if it's too early to even get a positive test? Because again, at that point, I wasn't tracking anything. I didn't know exactly what date we could have gotten pregnant on. But he really wanted me to take one. So I said, okay. By then it was in the evening too. And if you want the most, accurate and early positive test, you should use first morning urine. So of course this was the middle of the afternoon. So I'm like, all right, it's probably gonna be negative, but sure, I have a bunch of them at home anyway. Let's just go ahead and take one and see how it turns out. So I go ahead and take the test, and I'll go ahead and insert some footage here about us taking the test.
Well, so in today's news, we're gonna put the pee test, we're gonna put the pregnancy test in the box. I was clearly instructed not to look at it. We'll see how this goes.
Close your eyes.
Because if you close them enough, you can't see. So, the test is in the box. We have not looked at it. It's been 3 minutes. Let's see what we have.
So at this point, I totally think it's gonna be negative, but we figure why not just try? It's better to know anyway. That way I could just make sure I'm doing everything extra that I typically do during pregnancy and just cleaning up my diet that much more. So it's definitely better to know early on than to not know. So we went ahead and took the test. I think it's negative. What do you think?
I think it's negative too, but it's worth a shot.
Ready?
Set.
Oh my God. I'm really pregnant!
Oh my God! Oh.
You're having a baby. You're having a baby.
Oh my God! I did not think it was gonna be positive.
I didn't either. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, babe. I was not expecting that.
Having a baby.
Oh
We're having a baby.
My God. I really cannot even believe that. Literally just today was I like, okay, I might be pregnant.
We're having a
And I've been
baby.
so tired. Maybe that's why Coop has been snuggling my belly so much. He has been doing that like all the time. You guys, we were so shocked. I still can't believe on some days that I'm pregnant. I think because I'm not really showing yet or anything like that. And a lot of people say this, but when you have your second baby, you're so busy with your toddler or first child and with just life in general that you don't think about it quite as much. So I've definitely not been like distracted from this pregnancy, but it's amazing how many days go by that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really pregnant. Like, I can't believe there's a baby in my belly growing. So we are so excited. I cannot believe that Cooper's gonna have a sibling. I can't wait to see him as a big brother. And stay tuned. I'm not sure if we're gonna find out the gender. We didn't find out with Cooper. It was a surprise until the day he was born. And we actually ended up having a home birth with Cooper. We had a midwife and a midwife's assistant, and we're actually gonna have the same team. The two women that helped me with Cooper's birth are gonna be here for this baby's birth because we plan on having a home birth again as well. And it was just such an incredible experience to be able to give birth in the comfort of our own home. It was such an amazing and incredible experience. I definitely would recommend looking into it or just considering it if you're having a baby anytime soon. But they're just such an amazing team. So I'm really grateful to be able to be working with both of them again for this baby with this birth as well. So like I said, I'm not sure if we're gonna find out the gender. We didn't plan to have an ultrasound at all when I was pregnant with our first son, Cooper, but we did end up having a very short, condensed, quick ultrasound, only because we actually heard a heart murmur or some kind of change in his heartbeat when we were listening through a fetoscope. So we didn't end up using like a Doppler or anything throughout his pregnancy, but with the fetoscope, which looks like a big stethoscope, if you will, it's typically what midwives use to listen to the baby's heartbeat throughout pregnancy. And so we were listening one day and my midwife was checking, and all of a sudden his heartbeat just sounded a little bit off, which was so scary. I remember being terrified. And so we did end up having an ultrasound, not because it would change anything with the baby or during pregnancy, but because I was having a home birth, that's something you want to be aware of. If there was something wrong with his heart or any kind of concern or potential for a concern during the birthing process, that might have changed our home birth into a hospital birth. That way, if he needed any assistance for his heart, we would be right there and he could have immediate care. Yeah, we're not sure. We probably won't get an optional ultrasound with this pregnancy, but of course we are open to an ultrasound if there's something that they need to check in more detail, but I'm hoping that that obviously won't be the case. I had a really healthy and easygoing pregnancy the first time around, and I expect to do the same with this pregnancy. I eat a vegan diet, I eat very clean and plant-based, but I make sure I get enough protein and try to keep my carbohydrate levels a little bit lower than typical. And I do take very good supplements as well throughout my pregnancies, so I expect this pregnancy to go pretty smoothly as well. And as far as symptoms, I have actually been feeling pretty sick, definitely more sick than I was my first time around. With my first pregnancy, I would get nauseous sometimes in the evening, just random days, just within the first trimester. But lately, I have been feeling nauseous like most of the day on most days. So that's been kind of hard. I haven't actually thrown up yet at all, but sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe that would help. I don't know. But it's just been awful. And there really hasn't been much food that's been sounding appetizing either. And typically I'm like all about food and I crave salads and smoothies and all these like vibrant colored foods and different things. And right now I'm on like a beige diet, like bread, potatoes, like the most plain basic foods you could ever eat. That's all that I could even stomach right now. So I'm trying to be really aware of what I'm eating. I'm trying to make sure that the baby is getting some really good nutrients in there while making sure I can keep my food down. I've also been really tired, and like I said earlier, that's one of the things that cued me in on thinking that I might be pregnant. So I've definitely been taking advantage of nap times. When Cooper lays down for a nap, I try to lay down for a nap at least for like 10 or 15 minutes, especially since he hasn't been sleeping too good throughout the night. So I do try to rest throughout the day. What's great is that this pregnancy, I'm actually home with Cooper. For my first pregnancy, I was working full time. Some days were 12 or 14-hour days. That's just part of owning a business and seeing patients all the time. And it was really hard. It was stressful. I was on my feet literally until the day I gave birth. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I was healthy enough to do that. But I think being at home this time around, I'm definitely a lot less stressed. I'm pretty much just as active because I'm chasing around a toddler outside most of the day. But I feel a lot better. I feel like I'm just more in tune with myself. I'm a lot more calm throughout the day, and I'm not constantly, running. My mind isn't always stressed out and chasing things. So I'm definitely grateful to have the opportunity to stay home with our son throughout this pregnancy. So overall, I'm really excited to be pregnant and I'm feeling pretty good. Aside from the being tired and feeling nauseous throughout the day, I just try to remind myself that that's part of a normal and healthy pregnancy, and that means that the baby is growing and doing well inside of my belly. So I just try to think about that and keep to the positive side of it. But we're so excited to be having another little one in our home in the next couple of months. So we just can't wait, and I love being pregnant. I think it's such an incredible journey that your body can do all these amazing, amazing things. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel below this video by hitting the red subscribe button. If you want to get notifications, you can hit the little bell icon as well. It'll just let you know when I post new videos, and I will be posting week-by-week updates throughout my pregnancy, and again, not only on how I'm doing, but also generally what you can expect throughout your pregnancy as well. Thanks again for taking time out of your busy day to join me throughout this video, and we'll see you next time.